Hello, hello. What is up? To just like this is all my what is it called? This is all my opinion. So if you disagree or if you have any other hot takes or if you have any comments, feel free in the chat or in the video. We'll go lane by lane from bottom from support to top, sorry, but I'll leave mid to last because I think that's the most interesting and also the most impactful role in LoL Esports. Oh, also, yeah, for the tier list maker, the format, I guess. I'm using world's tier list because obviously I think to qualify to be considered a top 5 player of the year, you should have made like another tier at the bottom if we honorable mentions in the top 5. Actually, that would be really good. So, honorable mentions. Yeah. Okay. So I think I'll just put up players that I think deserve here up first, and then we'll sort it into one, two, three, four, five on deserves. So I think the world's finalists for sure deserve to be here. Carrier on Cullen, Mickey, I think, and for sure. Hong. One worlds. I That's why I put him third and Viper because I think Viper just consistently just had an exceptional year also. Um, I think in games where Hanwha Life were struggling, you could clearly see that Viper was still like trying his best and trying to win the game and carrying Hanwha Life. Um, Fourth and fifth, I think fourth has to be Pays. Pays had an excellent like first half of the year, spring and MSI. I think we saw the game where he broke the record and got like 34 kills or something crazy. He would always be consistently good throughout regular season. I think we just have a bitter taste of I think his performance just left a bitter taste in our mouths. His performance in the LCK Summer Finals, where he made some crucial oversteps in team fights against Viper. In game one when he flashed forward, or I think it was an E forward by Ezreal, and then Peanut, no, sorry, it was Zeka and Viper just pounced with Ashe and Tristana into winning the game and destroying the Nexus, going from end to end. And then also in Worlds, in the semifinals game, in game four against T1, like after Keen had gotten off the engage onto Faker and killed Faker, and they were poised to win that fight and then win the game. Um, Unfortunately, Pace like flashed into the Skarner ult, which then lost them the team fight and then lost them the game, right? And the series and the entire year. Um, so yeah, I think Pace would be fourth. Aiming had a really good year, but I think just DK's performance wasn't good enough to warrant me putting him up there. But I think I'll put him in as an honorable mention. I think Aiming's, I like, especially if you look at this guy's stats, like, and his goal differences, he was crazy. I think in in some of the games, DK's strategy was literally like just feed Aiming. You would see Lucid, Showmaker in some games, even King in like really in a way leads, but Aiming would always be that backup. Um, Jackie Love too inconsistent. I think Yon, good year overall, but I don't think he did well enough. So I'm putting Light up in fifth because Light beat Gala, and I think Light was that like more so like aiming, in a sense of, if this guy gets fed and if you put resources into light, he will consistently show up. Like, I don't think there were any times when light was like the burden or the one inting the game away for Weibo Gaming. Um, what's this? Mid. We'll do mid last, because I think that tier list or that list can be really contentious. So junglers. Let's see. River, Way, Inspired deserves a shout. Azork, Canyon, Peanut, yep. Way, Owner, Tian, Umpty, Tarzan. Do I put Inspired at all? Let me add it in honorable mentions. Think first, I think it would be Canyon. Canyon had some monster performances, especially in the first half of the year, and I don't think his form dipped too much in like, in a way that, you know, he was inting, right? Um like Canyon just has this like aura around him that you need to always respect him in the game, in terms of constantly tracking him, because if you give away any sort of lead to Canyon, I think the way Genji works, he will just run over the game, especially if he gets on his two tricks, like Nidalee or yeah, Nidalee or the other carry jungler. The performance for me that stands out the most is game 4 against T1 in the LCK Spring Finals, where they were 2-1 down, and then Canyon just brings out his Kha'Zix and takes them to a game 5, which they would then go on to win that finals. And also in MSI, where although he was sort of inting it for Genji in the first half of the tournament, in the latter half, when he finally got into his groove and he started, you know, picking that Nidalee, it was, I thought like, I thought no one could hold a candle to Canyon because of how well he was playing, and with those types of champions as well. Um, Now, so for BLG, I think I'll say it's Wei Shun. I think it's both Wei and Shun. I think we have to, because they were splitting time. I think they did well enough to be third, and I think Owner should be second, because Owner had Owner acted like a rock for T1 in summer when they were really struggling. So I value that consistency, although he did he did get rolled by Peanut though. So um hmm but I think it's still Owner second. Purely because he had a monster Worlds performance. His Vi, I think he was the best Vi in the tournament, and in some of those fights he was single-handedly winning the fight for T1, like in their I think semifinals against Genji, when he was He was zoning in the dragon fight. I think either in game. I think it was in game 3 or game 1 where owner single-handedly zones away Lahens and Pays, where another member of Genji got this really great engage off. I think it was Keen. Really good engage off. But the team just couldn't follow up because owner was just running amok in the back line. Um, so that performance really stands out to me. Um, Peanut, I think, had some really great games. I just don't see him as like, compared to owner and Canyon. It's hard for me to put him above them, since I don't think he's like a master at carries, right? He was in his early career, and this is like, I guess, an interesting development in Peanut, where in his early career when he was on Rocks and Coup Tigers, he was considered as this like all hands, insanely good carry jungler. We also the 2v4, his Lee Sin, the 2v4 against SKT in the 2016 semifinals, him and Prey. Um, but sort of to now, he's more regarded of this like tank jungler. You ban out his Poppy and his Sejuani. That's how you target Peanut's champion pool. And so, yeah, it is really interesting to see that development out of him, and to see how the public perceives him at the start of his career and now. And but so that's why, in my opinion, my reasoning is that's why he's sort of fourth, even though he did win the LCK summer finals, like, and on that road he like crushed owner. And then I don't think he gapped Canyon, but I think he was playing really well. So I think fifth is Tian, LPL summer regular season MVP. um Tarzan didn't have the entire year. So I don't think he can be in the consideration. Lucid, I think there were some games where he was mega trolling. I think the meme with him is that he just can't get to a third item. But he did have some pop off games, which was great to see. Out of a rookie jungler in the LCK. I think in 1 or 2 years time he can definitely be a top 3 jungler. But I think just for like Canyon's trajectory. Canyon was highly regarded when he was going up through the scene as this incredible carry jungler. In 2018 we saw remarks from Fnatic. In 2019 he had great showings, making it to Worlds. And then he really came into form in 2020 when he actually won Worlds and he made himself known on the Nidalee, on the Graves. Like, the meta was perfect for him then also, to be fair. But yeah, crazy. So I think that same trajectory can be said for Lucid. And he's also on Damwon now, D+, right? So I think in 1 to 2 years time, definitely he'll be top 3. Honorable mentions, I think I'll put in Razork and Inspired. Inspired was great for his team, FlyQuest. Razork, when they went on that insane run beating G2, it was really Razork getting the team insanely far ahead in the early game. So yeah. These are my picks for jungle. Mid laner I'll do last. Oh, I have two mid lane tier lists. Wait. Did I not get a... Hold on a minute. Let me pull up a tier list for top lane. Drift. Where is it? Worlds 2024. Top lane. Okay. So yep, we did jungle. Let's do top lane. 1, 2, 3, 5, and then honorable mentions. Bin for sure. BB, Keen, Torin, Zeus, Impact, Breathe. So I think top 2 is for sure Bin or Zeus. And I think in terms of 2024, I think Bin takes the cake. He was just incredibly dominant all throughout the LPL, both in spring and summer. And in MSI, I think what sticks out to me for Bin over Zeus is Bin's Camille against T1. You know, when he flew from the Baron Pit all the way into, I think, besides the, like, in the mid lane brush, catching out, I think it was Gumayushi, and then winning the team fight and the game and the series. So, incredible. I mean, Zeus had an incredible world. Don't get me wrong, but I think even in some of the games in Worlds, he wasn't that big of a carry. Like, I think his role in the finals was to neutralize Bin, like picking up the Gragas to counter his Jax. And I mean, you know, he did incredible on those picks, but I think, as I perceive it, the fact that it is like, oh, your role is to neutralize Bin instead of, you know, your role is to carry the team. That's why I think Bin takes it over Zeus. I think Keen should be third because Keen had an incredible year with Genji, winning his first domestic title and then also MSI. Keen Sante is just still gives me nightmares, still gives Showmaker nightmares probably. So that's great. Breathe, Zika. I didn't watch the LPL much, so I'm gonna put them there. I would put BB above Doran, actually, because Doran, I think, went out really poorly in his last showing at Worlds in the quarterfinals. Like, it feels really bad for him that he can't overcome this sort of choker label. And I just think Broken Blade had an insane year. I mean, G2 won 4 out of 4 trophies in the LEC, and I think he was instrumental within those games, playing both carry and tank. So I think BB does, like, needs that recognition, or sort of deserves to be recognized as an elite top laner, in my opinion. And I think his game in MSI also against TES, when they 3-0 TES, was also incredible. So yeah, Doran is here because he won Summer, and also Summer LCK, and also he was, I think he was good. Except, of course, that that series against BLG in Worlds. Okay, Last roll here, mid lane. Below. Knight, Caps, Chovy, Zeka, Scout, Faker, Xiao. So I I purposefully left mid lane to last because I think these three were, I think any um I think any order that you put these three in would be valid if you have an argument for it. Um, like Knight was consistent throughout the entire year. He was incredible in the LPL and in Worlds also. I mean, his Akali against Weibo Gaming in the semifinals was incredible. Chovy was performing at the top throughout the year, in spring and MSI especially. Although he was sort of invisible in Worlds, which is a shame. And then of course Faker, who I think was laning and playing really really well in the spring regular season. Like I think that was his best regular season in his past 5 to 7 years, and then unfortunately he fell off really hard in spring playoffs, MSI, and summer regular season, and then he really turned it on in summer. And for me, I think it's so I think Faker is second. I don't think he can be put at number one due to his inconsistencies, but he is second because of the insanely high peaks that he had, like the Silas play in Game 4 against BLG at World Finals, and then also in Game 5 the 3v4, and with his Galio performance, like taking us back to 2017 Worlds, and re-traumatizing Uzi, which was which was really great, which was really funny to hear about. Um, Now, who should be number one, Knight or Chovy? This year, for me, I think it would be Chovy, because Chovy has an international title this year, and Knight doesn't. Although Knight did make it to the two World Finals, it's because Knight didn't face Chovy in making it that far. Whereas Chovy did beat Knight, I think it was two times, right? Yeah, in MSI upper bracket finals, and then in the MSI grand finals. And that's why I think Chovy is the better player performance wise, um, over Knight. And I think Faker is second, and it's not like this. Why? Because Faker beat both Knight and Chovy in T1's Worlds Finals run, and got Worlds MVP. Um, so that's why I would slot him in here. And but if we're talking about the entirety of 2024, and taking into account like consistency of performance, um, I think Chovy would be first. Um, I would put Zeka as fourth. Zeka, this guy is just really clutch. We saw that in the summer playoffs, particularly on his Tristana. Like he was amazing. Actually, Actually, no, I would put Xiaohu here. No, but Xiaohu had a really bad Worlds. That match against BLG was not good. Um, who was in the LPL Springs finals? It was BLG and it wasn't Weibo. It wasn't LNG. It also wasn't JDG. Who was in the? Who were the LPL representatives from MSI 2024? Oh yes, it was top. No, I don't think Cream's making it there. I think Xiaohu. I really want to put Caps in number 5 over Zeka, but I don't think it's right. We'll do this. Caps and Scout for sure, honorable mentions. Yeah. So yeah, this would be my top 5 list. I think I'm happy with this. I don't know if I want to move anyone around. Maybe like this. I wouldn't put them in honorable mention. I don't think I would. Oh, maybe Core JJ was doing really well in the LCS. Elk Viper Guma. Yeah. So I think you can see by the way I've ordered this, like in terms of who I thought the best players were for T1 at Worlds. And it's for me it's Faker and Carrier. Which I don't get because Faker and Carrier were most of the time, at least in the regular season in LCK, they were like the inters of that team. Like sometimes these two would just like run it down, either in team fights or in lane, and it would be really frustrating to see, right? But for some reason, just when it got to Worlds, and I mean, you could even say like the EWC, which also has World in its title, they were like incredible. So, so yeah. Um, I don't really know what else to talk about. I think I wanted to talk about Arcane. Um, I don't know where to talk about it through though. Maybe I'll open up Paint and maybe we can like draw some scenes and talk about what worked really well. So I thought Arcane season 2 was incredible. Obviously, um, I was straight up emotionally distraught by the last 10 minutes of episode 6. I wish that didn't. Oh, just before I move any further, by the way, there will be spoilers in this discussion. Yeah, incredible season that it's shaping up to be. The only gripe that I have with Arcane right now is that as a long time player of League of Legends and um and so knowing the lore and how everything is, or rather like where I assume the characters will end up as they are as champions in the game, it does ruin the intrigue and the mystery of what's coming up next a little bit. Like for Victor, for example, like yes, the ending of episode 6 had him literally get blasted by Jace and a big crater in the middle of his chest, but since I know that you know Victor will become the what is it, the machine herald, and he'll end up like this, you sort of know then that like, oh okay, so in the last 3 episodes he'll revive through the arcane, go completely insane, and then reach this status, which, you know, I'm sure the writers will execute it really well, but it's just a shame that I know that this is coming, right? Whereas those, if you didn't know beforehand or hadn't played League beforehand, you would still have this intrigue. Um, so yeah, like my wish has always been from the beginning, even in season one, that like I hope that Arcane has the guts to actually kill off champions like permanently. You know, I know that would make it sort of weird for the game. You know, if Victor does end up dying and then he's still there, obviously as a champ as a playable champion in the game, but at the same time, it's like, you know, it just depends on how you view it, right? Is Arcane a supplement to the lore of League of Legends, or is it its own thing but based on champions in League of Legends? And I would like it to be the latter, you know, just fully go into and explore these stories. For example, like Warwick, for example. Yes, it would be tragic if he survives throughout everything and he ends up becoming the champion that he is in the game. But at the same time, like, how good would it also be if he dies and he has closure after seeing his daughters, and or maybe makes like this some like big sacrifice to save Vi and Jinx in like the final episode, and then he dies and doesn't come back, and that's his like final moment and his final act. Like, that would be really good, but and they might still go through that route. I don't know, like, hopefully it's my hope that they do and they surprise me, but my expectation is that, okay, the theories running around is that Isha blew off Vander's head, and then Singed will install the full wolf head, which is like, which is fine, but at the same time, it's like, just, you know, take this story as your own. The writers just really, really grapple with it and like give these. Yeah, so at least my worry with it is that none of these characters will actually have like a conclusion. They'll just end up as the champions that they are in game, and then the story will end, which is fine. But at the same time, it's like, I think a really good conclusion would also be nice. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Arcade. Like, this is me just speculating about the narrative and the story, right? In terms of the actual story itself and what we've seen, I think everything's been incredible. So the animation as well, it's crazy good. So yeah. So Chad, I think I'm going to call it there for tonight. Because I don't really feel like playing any video games right now, and I'm incredibly tired after eating dinner. So yeah, maybe next time we'll start stream a little bit earlier, so I'll have more energy in the day. But yeah, enjoy your day and night, y'all, and I'll see you tomorrow.